You're listening to the Beyond Sunday podcast, where faith journeys extend beyond the Sunday sermon. Join Pastor Jeff Carlson and guests as they dive deeper into spiritual topics, offering insights and reflections that resonate with believers from all walks of life. Join us for enriching conversations in faith, life, and community. This is Beyond Sunday.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Beyond Sunday. Pastor Jeff, Pastor Zach.
Hello.
Pastor Andrew's here, producer Andrew, whatever you want to call him, doing a great job. Thankful for this time we can spend together. And last time we talked about margin, and specifically margin in our schedule, and the two keys to margin, contentment and simplicity. So today, I wanted to get in the other three areas of where I believe the Lord is challenging believers to dive into margin. So finances, our emotions, and then our physical health, which hopefully we'll get to that today. And just want to spend some time. So let's talk about developing margin in our finances, our budgets, our ability, what we're spending money on, etc. Why do you think God would want us to have margin in our finances?
Well, I think everything we have financially comes from God. So in my mind, I picture God owns 100% of it, and He trusts me as a steward of those finances, whether it's a little or whether it's a lot. Paul said, "I've learned to be content, whether I am abased or abound," and I'm still the steward of that money. If I've only got $100 a week, or whether I got $1,000 a week, or what I've got, I'm still a steward of that amount.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I was going to say when I preached this, but I didn't get to, was the importance of adjusting the mindset that we have about money. So, there's a secular mindset of, it's my money, I can do what I want with it.
I earned this, it's mine.
I earned this.
Don't tell me what to do.
I've even got married couples that refuse to put their money together and be one, because this is my money, that's his money or her money, and I'm gonna pay the bills that.
Did you go ahead and do the wedding though?
I did not. No. This is after the marriage.
Oh, after the marriage,
it's falling apart.
Oh,
and I say to them, let me just tell you, one of the reasons your marriage is struggling and you're on the rocks is you've only become one flesh in a few areas. And this financial area is part of becoming one flesh. And I would just say very boldly, if you're watching, listening to this, and you're married and your finances are separate, you are out of the will of God. That's pretty strong.
Lizzie and I have separate bank accounts.
Are you on hers?
I'm on hers and she's on mine.
Yeah, but you live the same budget.
But I think she's written 2 checks ever on mine. But what it did is, my direct deposit from my job doesn't get mixed into hers, and so she's able to budget better. Like I told you in a different episode, she's a genius on the budget.
She doesn't want you to spend her money.
It actually makes it work for our household. Yeah. She'll be writing the household bills. I don't have to write the bills. She does it, and she'll say, "Well, we're going to be $2,000 short at the end of the month." And I say, all right, it's my responsibility to make sure money moves from that account to that account and makes it go. But even though we have 2 different accounts, they are joint accounts, and they're used as one. And
you're budgeting together.
What it is,
you're not on different pages.
If you piled all your gold in one stack, you'd spend till it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, this slows her down. She spends all that gold and she says, wait, we're all out. I said, no, we're not. We have that other stack we haven't used yet. So it's actually creating margin. Yeah. That is why we have 2 bank accounts.
That's just one strategy to do it. I think philosophically and in your budget, you're on the same page with it. So that works. Amy and I have, 8 savings accounts, 8 different savings accounts where we budget for Christmas and vacation and school, just whatever, regular savings. We have all these different accounts because that's how we do it, and we separate the money.
Some people use envelopes.
Some people use envelopes. Dave Ramsey does it that way. He says to do it that way. I don't know that it matters what method you decide to use. I think we have to begin as believers with the mindset that none of it's ours anyway. And so many people that understand the concept of tithing, for instance, say, okay, I'm gonna give my tithe. I'm gonna bring my tithe to the Lord. That's 10%.
What do we call it? My tithe.
Well,
The Lord's tithe, right?
tithe. I'm going to bring the Lord's tithe to him, return the Lord's tithe to him. And then the other 90%, I can do whatever I want with. And that's the mindset so many, I would say, Western Christians have about their money.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you do need to point out is that's easy to do because, tithing doesn't buy you into heaven at all. You're saved by grace.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, true.
Tithing to me is acting responsibly and responsively to God. God, you're taking care of me,
Yep.
and I'm going to tithe.
Tithing indicates who's really the Lord of your life. Who are you really trusting? Who are you really honoring with your money? Particularly, the Bible says where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be.
Yeah.
And so if we take that to heart, and that's in the context of Jesus talking about, hey, don't lay up for yourself treasure on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourself treasure in heaven. Do eternal things with your money, not just the 10%, but the 90%, whatever's left over. I do think the Lord allows us greater discretion and decision-making with the 90%, but it still doesn't belong to us. It's still not exclusively mine and I can do whatever I want. I am not an owner of any of this. I am a steward.
We have to think, what does God want me to do? What's his intention? He's given me this much money.
Yeah.
What does God want me to do with this?
Yeah.
And he does want you to take care of paying your family's bills.
Yeah, please do.
Put shoes on their feet and clothes.
Yeah. Don't give your
clothes on their
grocery
back.
money to kingdom builders.
No.
Buy groceries, unless the Lord
Yeah.
very clearly says,
Yeah.
I want you in faith to do this. And he has before. I mean, he's done that to me before. I'm sure he's done it to you, where you're like, man, I feel like the Lord is telling me to give over here or do this extra thing for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And I have to sacrifice something then on the other side in order to be able to do
sometimes there seems to be this pattern, though, that sometimes God supplies, and you don't just say, "Oh, good, extra money.
No,
let's go wild." You still stop. I've received extra money before, place I didn't expect. And I thought, well, here's an extra $100 today.
Yeah.
What should I do with this? And it feels so good to go use it on somebody else's need.
Yeah.
It is so satisfying. That money came to me. I didn't ask for it. I didn't earn it. It was like a bonus money that came in through just a gift someone gave me.
Yeah.
And I could take that $100 bill and go do something great with it.
Something eternal.
Something eternal with it.
And I don't think God expects that of us all the time. I think he expects us to be willing all the time. Willing. In fact, here's a quote. It was in my notes. We should never pretend that we have rights to what is not ours. God is honored by funnels and dishonored by sponges.
Okay, explain that.
He's honored when we are conduits through which he can. Remember, this is the context of money,
Right.
but it could be applied to some other things with the
could.
Lord. When we don't hold tightly, we're funnels of the work of God. We're not sponges of it, holding it all to ourselves.
Okay.
We're not absorbing it all for ourselves, but we're basically the conduit through which the Lord blesses, others, blesses the earth, blesses the kingdom, blesses the church, whatever.
That I don't know why, but you said it applies to other things. I've been reading 2 Corinthians, and the book starts out saying, "God comforts you in your suffering because you will comfort other people." Yeah. Wouldn't that be applied then? That what we're saying with finances? God doesn't give you money just so you can be selfish. Yeah. He's given it to you because somebody might need it. And you'll be the one that gets to do it.
Some have said, the people of God are blessed so they can be a blessing. Mm-hmm. And we are blessed. I mean, the vast majority of, especially people who tithe, walk in a blessing that is not matched in the areas of even a believer's life who doesn't tithe. And I've just seen that over and over and over and over and over again, not only in my own life, but in so many other people's lives. The testimonies of walking in the blessing of God. Why? Because if you tithe, if you return to God what is already his, he will take that 90% and if you funnel that to the kingdom, in the sense of this, like whatever the Lord wants me to do with it, I'll do. I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to take care of my kids, all my responsibilities. But Lord, what do you want to do with it? And I'm not hoarding it under myself. Jesus tells a story. I just read it today in Luke. Jesus tells a story about the man who plants a vineyard and has an abundant harvest. I mean, an abundant harvest. And he says, man, what am I going to do with all this extra stuff that I've got, all this extra grapes or all this extra grain? What am I going to do? And it didn't even cross his mind to funnel the extra to others and be a blessing to the world through the kingdom. Yeah. He says, I know what I'll do. I'll build bigger barns. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger barns. I'll get a better car.
So I can keep it all.
Yeah, I'll get a bigger house. I'll get that boat I've been wanting. I'll whatever. And that's how so many Americans think. I think Americans when it comes to our finances, but that's not how God wants us to think. That's not what he wants. He doesn't want us to go, I'm just going to tear down my old barns and build bigger ones. He wants us to say, Lord, you've blessed me with this abundance. You've provided now seed to the sower. Where would you like me to sow the seed?
Yeah. Whenever I have to call somebody up about like the bank or the credit card or something, I try to convince the person on the phone that they can give me the refund or whatever it is because look, you're not spending your own money.
Yeah.
This is the corporate. This was my money, and the corporation's holding on to my money, and it's not your money anyway. Yeah. But that's how I feel sometimes with the money I have in my pocket. It's not my money. I'm spending somebody else's money, so I can be generous as long as I let Lizzie know. This is an important thing in a marriage. Yes. Don't give away all the money without your wife knowing that you just gave it away. So you have to give each other a little bit of freedom. You know, Lizzie can come to me later and say, hey, I did this and this with some money. I sold a painting. And I said, good. I'm glad you got to do that, you know, because there's trust in finances.
Amy and I have developed that in our budget. And this is a Dave Ramsey principle, but like, you know, if you're going to do a budget, build in some blow money or some spend money, just whatever you can afford, whatever makes sense, and allow yourself that. That way you don't blow the budget on, you know, extravagant things that you didn't plan for, which I'm a spender, admittedly. I can do that. Like, it's easy for me to go, let's just buy the thing, you know, and I do the budget in our house, so it's good for me to see it all the time and make sure that I'm covering the things that we need to cover.
Lizzie and I went to a church service in that little county line Assembly of God in Napanee, south of Napanee, Indiana.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
And the pastor was saying that he came home, you know, because he was working and pastoring, and they didn't have a lot of money. And his wife had bought a new dress, and she was afraid to tell him. She was afraid because of what it would do to the budget. And he said, well, how much did you spend? And she says, well, this was $175, which is a lot of money if you don't have it.
It's still a lot of money.
And he said, honey, you're worth $176.
Well, I hope that's true.
But Lizzie and I picked that attitude up anytime that you know, to let her know, I trust how you spend your money. And if you spend it on yourself to get a new dress, people don't wear dresses, though. Women don't wear dresses much anymore. But whatever that they buy, sometimes I'll tell her, oh, it's worth $51, you know, instead of, because it's for you.
Well, just to give some advice, I would say if you want to get margin in your finances, first of all, tithe. We've already talked about that. First of all, tithe. Second of all, build a budget. Build a budget. There's so many people who don't live on a budget and they wonder where their money goes.
It just means that you plan on spending less than you earn.
Yes.
And budget's real easy. You just figure out how much am I going to earn this week or this month or this year, and then you sit down and say, well, we have to spend less than that. So what can we do?
Yeah. I mean, like for me, in our budget, tithing is a budget line. Yeah. It's just a bill for me, you know, in that sense.
Oh, I hate to call it a bill.
I know, but
I don't like to call it a bill.
In the mindset of spending, how we're spending, now it's at the top of my budget. It is my tithe, and then my Kingdom Builders giving and my missions giving. We support 4 missionaries personally, and that's all at the top. That's the first thing that comes out.
You just lost your reward because you bragged about supporting.
I'm not bragging. I'm just telling how I do it. And then, of course, I go through it, and it's like, how much is your mortgage or your rent, and how much do you expect your utilities to be this month, and how much do you need for groceries, and how much do you need for car insurance, and how much you think you'll spend on gas this blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you just work down the list and create a simple budget of everything that you might spend. And
Right.
we're a zero-based budget, which just means every dollar gets assigned somewhere. And there are months when I have to move money around. I have to say, well, I was hoping I could put this much money in my Christmas account, because Christmas, I don't know if you knew it or not, Christmas comes on the same day every year. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Christmas comes on this. That means you can
It's
budget.
it's my brother's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, I would never miss it.
It's my brother's birthday too. Anyway, it comes on the same day. So like, there's no reason to ever be surprised by needing to buy Christmas presents on December 1st. Oh, crud. Christmas is in 3 weeks. I didn't plan for this. Like,
You're not
guys,
going to tell me you, Jeff Carlson, wait until December
Oh, no.
1st
Oh, no.
to start Christmas.
I try to be done by like November 1st. Sometimes I wait for Black Friday.
You love Christmas way too much.
I do love it, as proof on my Facebook page. But budgeting for things like that ahead of time, budgeting for vacation, budgeting for savings, budgeting for I've counseled a lot of couples who don't have their money together, don't have a budget, and you know what else they don't have? They don't have any goals and dreams for the future, because they have no way of enabling those dreams and those goals, like vacation or traveling or giving. Like, one of my goals is a certain level of giving that I'd like to get to in my life. I need to get rid of my kids first, but after that, I have this dream of, that's a goal for me and Amy. And I think so many people who don't budget and don't put their money together, don't serve the way the Lord wants, don't have any of those long-term goals and dreams. So, and it's
they never get a break. They never get a rest.
Yeah. Well, what are they going for?
Well, what I see happen is, they're monthly spending more than their earnings, and they're scrapping, they're striving, and they just finally get fed up, and they go take out on a credit card vacation. They come back with an extra $5,000 to $10,000 of debt on top of them after they get back from their splurge.
Yep.
And
then guess what? They're all, whatever margin they might have had,
it's all gone.
It's gone forever.
But,
well, not forever, but
if you have to sit down and sharpen your pencils, Ted Brush used to say, and say, look, I've been drinking, the more expensive coffee every month. We can save $100 if I'll do 8 o'clock coffee for the rest of the year, and things like that. So that the reason you do that might be because next time we're going to have a real vacation, and we're going to do it.
So again, if you have a goal out there, something you're on the same page about and both excited about, we'd love to travel to whatever. We'd love to do a great
and the
vacation.
secret is to be excited about whatever Lizzie is excited about, and then we're both excited about the same
thing. Get excited
thing.
about your wife. That's a win right there.
Don't tell my wife about this comment in the podcast.
She's gonna watch or listen. So in the context of that budget, get out of debt. That'd be the other piece of advice I would say. Whatever it takes to get out of debt, get out of debt.
And every debt. First, you want to get rid of all the unsecured debts, all your credit cards and personal loans, things like that. I think that's the first thing to get rid of, because you are still going to probably have a car payment, especially if you have a lower interest rate on your car than you did on those other debts. And then almost everybody is living with that mortgage. But
if you're intentional, you can retire all those things too.
Lizzie and I paid off our boat. We have 2 vehicles. We paid off her previous vehicle. We worked ahead, paid them off early, and we had debt-free cars for years. Yep. Well, we do right now. Have debt-free cars, and we've been paying extra on our mortgage because it wasn't going to be paid off until I'm 80 years old originally.
That'll be rough.
So, yeah.
But that's just being intentional,
right?
Just
but that's part of her budget plan.
Have you found
to do that?
Have you found that as you've been faithful to the Lord in giving, and then intentional in budget, retiring debt, whatever, that the Lord has come alongside you and helped?
We've got stories that were unbelievable. When we moved here 22 years ago, I couldn't find a job. It was an odd thing. There were jobs. They would say, well, you've got too many kids, things like that, and they wouldn't hire me. And I just needed some work, and I found temporary work, But meanwhile, we went April, May, June on just Liz working as an x-ray tech. And we would walk through our kitchen, and there'd be $100 bill. Probably my brother Bruce drove out there and left that on there, though, on our. But it was enough to get us through that week.
Yeah.
One day I came home, and the washing machine had broken down, and Liz was crying. She says, "We cannot afford the laundromat with 4 kids and us, and we can't afford it, and we don't have a washer." She's crying. I just pat her on the shoulder and said, "Lizzie, the Lord always takes care of you." And went out and got the mail, and a check from someone who had never written us a letter in their life covered the new washing machine. That exact day it happened. And there we had story after story after story. It was like week after week. We worked diligently. We were actually paying off credit card debt even while during that time. And we just became diligent at it. This is what we did. We worked to get out of debt. We worked for me to get a job. As soon as I got hired, we never had a gift laying on our counter again.
Because the Lord provided.
The Lord took care of us. Yeah. And we can't get around that. You can't say, well, there's some other explanation. It really had to be that God was faithful to us.
And I think it's that key that you honored the Lord and you were doing the right things so that you could build the margin you needed and build your finances around kingdom thoughts.
Well, and
then the Lord helped you.
Like tithing. When you only have $100, it's only $10. Tithing's a percentage.
Yeah.
It isn't large amounts, so it
feels like
it's relational to whatever you've got.
If you've never done it, it feels enormous.
Yeah.
It feels enormous.
When I was earning zero money, you know how much I tithed? 0.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah. Well, I've been kicking around the idea of, after this message, that maybe something we ought to look at is doing a workshop on building a budget. How do you build a budget? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's Dave Ramsey that has stuff, and there's certainly other groups out there.
We've historically been known for having the financial freedom
Peace University,
financial peace,
to help people get out of debt, follow the Dave Ramsey plan if you're on that. But even just sitting down with people and helping them just walk through building a budget might be something that we should offer here. So no commitments yet, but because I don't have anything on the calendar, I don't know if I have margin. But it is something I think
we're gonna have to say no to that.
I'm not there yet either. I think it's something we could probably work out here, and it would be great to have something like that leading into next year, leading into 20. What if you started 2025 off, and you made a commitment? I'm going to tithe. I'm going to live on a budget. I'm going to get out of debt.
I'm going to build
and
for
I'm
a
going to
future.
spend 2025 plus getting my financial house set so that I can have margin to pivot. Again, go back to last session, pivot with the Holy Spirit as He leads us. So when that missionary comes through and you want to give, you have it. Yeah. When the missions trip comes up, or the opportunity to give to hurricane victims that need help, and be Jesus hands and feet, even just to your neighbor because they don't have any whatever.
Yeah,
that's a powerful, powerful opportunity. But you gotta do the right things, and I believe the Lord will come alongside and help people as they say yes to that.
Yeah, I know He does.
I know I've seen it too.
But the thing, don't delay on this of changing your mindset that everything I own belongs to God, even my money. Yes. If you don't have that attitude, you need to get down on your knees. You need to be spending some time before the Lord. Say everything I own
it's a heart
belongs
issue,
to you.
Isn't it?
It's easy to do all the rest of the stuff once you transfer ownership back to God of everything that belongs to Him.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Listen, thanks for joining us today. We didn't get as far as I was hoping we'd get in this session, so that's all right. We'll do a part 3.
We like to talk.
I know, it's good. We'll do a part 3 around margin, and so grateful for you coming today. Hope it was helpful. And be on the lookout with our church emails. If you're not on the email list, please sign up on the website and jump on that email list so you can be updated on all the events and the things that are happening at Connection Point, any campus, and across all the campuses. But I think that it's very possible we'll be offering a budget workshop here soon. And so keep your eyes out. We'll let you know about it, and hope that you'll join us. God bless you. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Beyond Sunday podcast. We invite you to join the conversation and share your thoughts at connectionpointchurch.org/Beyond Sunday. Spread the word and share this podcast with others. Stay inspired and connected as we explore faith beyond Sunday.